All righty, 7 p.m. on the dot. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We have the second session of this wonderful topic, WHAM. Make me try to remember what it is. For whatever reason, it's leaving my mind. Workplace hostility, aggression, and mistreatment. But Mr. Cooper will definitely give you guys the correct name. Anyway, thank you again for joining us. Just as normal, want to remind you to check in. I will put the link in the chat throughout the evening, making sure that you guys. Okay, there I am. Making sure that you guys are able to check in. Use the QR code on the screen or the link in the chat. Complete the post-session survey for us at the end, please. Your comments are definitely needed, and we are taking them into consideration. We're working through them now. And the reflections questionnaire was sent out last Friday. So if you could tell us about your last week, what happened, what was good, what needed to be better, what were some challenges, and how can we help with that? As always, if this is of value to you, please share with your friends on campus, your classmates, share with your organizations, have them put it on their social media, add it to your social media, please. Just letting them know about the program. It is not too late to join. We are excited to have you guys come in whenever you do. And we will have some continuing programs throughout the semester. So please don't hesitate to share the information and have them to join us. We are going to have loads of fun and while we learn and become the professionals that I know you guys want to be. If you can, put your cameras on. We do love engaging with you and seeing your faces. So we thank you for that, for those of you who can. When you are making your comments or asking your questions, we ask that you would please give us your name. Some of your names on your Zoom windows don't give us who you are. We'd love to know who's engaging with us. So either put your name or include your name in the chat or tell us what your name is when you come off mute to make your comments or ask your questions. Now, right before I bring up our dynamic presenter, Mr. Cooper, I ask that you please put your name, major, company, and your location, where you're currently working or where you are currently residing during this summer, if you would, in the chat. And we'll turn it over to Mr. Cooper. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach Jones. All right, let me launch right in with an introduction. As soon as I get my screen, so I am Mr. Cooper. I am in the Department for Careers and Professional Development. Just a little bit about my background. I graduated from Morehouse. I have 20 years in corporate America with 8 in HR. I started off in Merrill Lynch, then went to JP Morgan, and then Ernst & Young, and then some other smaller companies. I have a very diverse background, including banking, aviation, consumer goods, not-for-profit, and academia. Some of the roles that I have held include financial forecasting, corporate strategy, HR marketing, and adjunct professor. So I'm coming to you with a wealth of...
What you're looking for?
I'm coming to you. There's someone that needs to go on mute. So I am coming to you with a wealth of knowledge in regard to navigating the workspace and decoding what coworkers and managers are doing and saying. Also tactics for promotion, tactics for job longevity. So let me just dive right in. The name of this particular workshop, I presented it yesterday, and this is week 5. This will be the terminal for this week. Handling workplace hostility, aggression, and mistreatment. We're going to talk about navigating a challenging workplace to succeed. We're going to talk about pitfalls. We're going to talk about negative labeling, and we're going to talk about targeting as well as coming out of a pitfall, turning things around. So this is going to be interactive. I love engaging students. So I'm going to be asking you to come off mute and answer some questions. So what comes to mind when I say workplace pitfall, or pitfall in general? negative labeling, targeting. Sounds like a very powerful word. Anybody want to come off mute and kind of tell me what his or her thoughts are? What do you think this presentation is going to be about?
Probably navigating difficult workplace scenarios and handling it with professionalism.
Correct. And what do you think when I use the word target? Ariel.
Okay. Hello, my name is Ariel Head. When you say targeting, I think it's literal, like kind of pe people coming as a group and just not even saying direct insults, but kind of just like coming at you in a negative way and kind of almost ganging up on you
Mhm.
and just
It
picking
doesn't
at
it doesn't have to be
you.
a group either. It could be one person.
Mhm.
But that's correct. So let's jump right into the presentation and see what I'm talking about. I'm going to start off by defining WHAM, or workplace hostility, aggression, and mistreatment. We're going to understand how to detect it, and we are going to take a look at what to do about it. So, in my 20 years, I pretty much came up, and this is not a national statistic, this is my own statistic. I pretty much came up with the observation or analysis that about 30% of my coworkers, going to lunch, observing them, having worked in HR, working in HR, that they experience WHAM, or some type of mistreatment. And we're going to talk about that. In addition to that, I approached the assistant director here and I asked him what was his opinion on it. And he said, well, he agrees because probably about a third of the students who come back from their internships express concern or express that they have experienced a challenging time or some type of targeting or negativity. So there are people, and I will say this up front, and I know many, there are people who experience wonderful, very progressive careers. I know a number of managing directors. I know a number of VPs. I know a number of people who know how to navigate the work environment and haven't really experienced or have experienced, very, very pleasant work experiences. But we do need to talk and equip those people who are being pushed around in the workplace. It's a very serious thing, and they even have special lawyers, employment lawyers, and EEOC uh, to address all of these mistreatments. Let me go ahead and define for you what I mean by workplace hostility, aggression, and mistreatment. And this is my definition here. A manager communicating to or taking actions against an employee in a passive aggressive manner to shame, embarrass, tarnish, or insult an employee and or make the employee's work appear inferior based on personal bias, cultural biases, uh, favoritism, or actual work performance. So what comes to mind, I'd like to ask anyone who chooses to come off mute, what comes to mind when I use the word or say the word passive aggressive, and then what comes to mind when you hear this definition? Anyone?
Hello, I'm Camille Kirk. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Um, when I hear the word passive aggressive, I think the definition goes well with I think it's a good definition. It's like when someone is pretty much trying to undermine you. I
Yeah.
feel like passive aggressive, they're trying to like have slick remarks against you and their intention is to be rude.
Okay. Now, what came to mind when I read the entire definition?
Um, the entire definition, I would say what came to mind. Oh, somebody else gonna answer?
Hmm? Just whatever came to mind, whatever
I,
does.
I think the definition was good. I feel like it reflects the word passive aggressiveness.
Okay. So let's do a check-in right now, and I'd like you all to put in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10 how your current job/internship is going. Not so great or great on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you really are not happy, and then 10 being it's great. Just want to get a feel. Six 6.5, 8, 9. Oh, okay, that's good. We have some high numbers, very high numbers. 6, 5. Okay, we have a couple of fives, kind of in the middle. Is it because let's see who put the 5 there? Is it because you don't really like the internship, or it's not challenging, or you're feeling some type of this is Amazi? Are you feeling some type of challenge in the workplace, or the work is not? Is it the work or is the people? Who put the 5 in? Can you? I think you're on mute. Amazi. What else put a low in? 6.
Maybe someone who put a 6 in there might be willing to share. So
6.
anyone who put a 5,
Charles.
6, yeah.
Yes,
Charles.
sir. I would say mine is more of the people, I would say.
Kind of the people. Are they kind of aggressive toward you, or is it just kind of toxic in general?
I would say, like, you know how you can have, say, like a great upper management, but then your lower management, like a team leader or something like that, or like a manager just over your side. It's kind of like pushy sometimes, that
I
type of
get
thing.
that personality.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, great. We're going to engage that. Why do you think, you can put this in the chat, you can come off mute. Why do you think there is workplace mistreatment, aggression, and hostility? I hear many people say, why can't I just come to the job, do my job, and leave? Why is it? I mean, why? It sounds easy. You have a job, people pretty much know what they need to do. They turn in the work and that's it. Well, so why do you think there is? What are some of the reasons that people experience this type of mistreatment?
Hello, my name is Kamaya. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So I would say that the reason why there is workplace mistreatment is a lot of the time, like unfortunately, the people who are targeting others have their own personal bias or biases against the person or people that they are targeting. Um, yeah, and I feel like that sometimes it can be like they're consciously doing these hostile things, or it can be like built up because of these subconscious
Yeah,
beliefs that
I
they
was going to say,
have.
sometimes it could be subconscious or unconscious.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Mr. Cooper, Amazi did put in the chat that it is the workplace environment, the reason why he gave it a 5.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about some biases, prejudices, and mistreatments that are in the workplace. So this is a list that I've come up with, and you may add to it. We have dislike and jealousy, confidence, talent, intellect. You could be a very confident person. You could be very talented. You can be very intelligent. It could be your looks, your appearance, presence. You could be threatening. Favoritism can come into play. Cultural bias. Um, one Hispanic against this, maybe. There is even college bias. Um, Rice or University of Texas or Texas Southern, certain people will align with their schools, Prairie View. Discrimination, gender, that's typically the one that comes up first. Discrimination, gender, sexual orientation. But you have others. Thinking is too progressive. I saw on YouTube, and I've seen other instances where there's conflict between a manager and a lower, or two managers or two vice presidents. So it doesn't matter that some people have really great thoughts and others don't jive with them. The thoughts are too progressive, and that's what happened to Steve Jobs, actually, the founder of Apple. He went through some ups and downs. Then you have a sociopath and narcissist. Does anybody know what a sociopath is? A narcissist? I'll define them for you. So we have these people in the workplace. These people, they lack empathy, they're manipulative, they have no remorse, don't care about other people's feelings. They can be deceitful, tend to be aggressive or hostile. They tend to exploit people, and they enjoy shaming people. Those are called sociopaths, and they do exist in the VP and higher up levels. Then we have a narcissist. People use this word all the time, but let's apply it to the business arena. Narcissist is someone who has an inflated sense of self, of himself or herself, big ego, needs attention, needs praise, needs recognition, feels very important, and needs you to feel that that person is important, deserves special treatment, and thinks that his accomplishments or her accomplishments are bigger than what they really are. And you're bringing all these psychodynamics into the workplace while you're just trying to do your job. How about targeting and retaliation? Can somebody define? There's a difference between targeting and retaliation. Can somebody tell me the difference? Anyone will come off mute and tell me the difference? Let me just come off mute. I can't really. Ariel?
Okay. Hello, I'm Ariel Head again. For retaliation, it's literally, I guess, a reaction to something. So let's say you reported somebody for something, whatever was done, whatever didn't happen, and in turn they come back and are just rude or insulting or have a reaction to what you did.
So thank you. Targeting is a very general word. Retaliation is actually a legal word, and it has to do with the protected classes. And there are a number of protected classes related to EEOC, and that is, and I'm going to name a few: race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, and some other classes. And when you report these things, retaliation means that they are targeting you, or they're going after you, or they're retaliating against you, or they're trying to set you up for termination. That's retaliation. And that's illegal. Teaming up, and I think Ariel mentioned this earlier, teaming up means that it's not only one person who has an issue with you, but that person tries to get other people to team up with you, team up against you. Just general overall lack of support given to you. And then bullying this happens often as well. Well, not often, but it does happen. And when I say bullying, that means that person is extremely demonstratively aggressive and could be physical. I'm going to share a video. I'm going to stop this and share a video, and I'm going to ask your opinion. And we're going to discuss this. It's a really good video. Give me 1 second.
But if we wanted to, we could do something about that. 2016, researchers at Yale showed teachers this video clip of 4 preschool students. Their instructions: look for misbehavior and click when you see it. The study was kind of deceptive. None of the kids in the video actually misbehaved. The researchers were using eye tracking software. What they actually wanted to study was who the teachers were watching. Both Black and white teachers spent significantly more time watching the Black boy in the video. This study showed that even preschool teachers can treat kids differently based on their race without even realizing it. Look elsewhere.
All right, so let's start off. I would like to get someone to come off mute and summarize to make sure we're all on the same page and we all saw the same thing. Maybe I'll get 2 people. One person to come off mute and kind of summarize what he or she saw. Kind of summarize the video.
Hello, my name is Kirsten Prince,
Hi.
and I think they're saying like maybe they're not intentionally targeting like the black little boy.
No, let me slow down for a second, Chris. What I
Okay.
want you to do is tell me what you saw.
Okay.
Kind of just summarize the video. There were some teachers, they were just kind of summarize it.
Oh, I don't know. That's just all I came to say. I'm sorry.
Would anybody like to summarize the video?
Yes, I can help her out.
Okay, thank
So
you.
I guess there were some teacher evaluators who had the objective to watch these four preschoolers of different cultural backgrounds. And within them, I guess spending a hefty amount of time observing, they only like, I guess, targeted like the black male. Um, yeah, that's what I received.
Okay. And they also said, if you listen closely, they said their eyes, they had tracking devices, and their eyes substantially, not just a little, they used the word substantially observed the black boy. And they also said that the kids were instructed to not do anything that, they weren't doing anything out of line. So let me ask the next person and somebody come off mute. How do you think this child situation really unfolds into the context that I'm talking about in the work environment? What does that have to do with what I'm talking about?
Um,
Why would I even bring this video into the game?
I think because people have pre-biases, like sometimes it's not intentional. It's just things that they may have grew up or experienced. So yeah.
Okay, so let's just kind of transform this situation and say these are adults and they're going into their internship. Now, what happens in the event where all of the eyes are on the black male and the eyes are not on the other people? What happens to his experience, his opportunities?
Okay, if no one's gonna answer, I'll ask. I'll add. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead,
I
somebody.
would, yeah, my name is Story Tia Ricks. I was gonna answer. I would say that it would cause that person or the black male to maybe not perform at his best since there's a lot of pressure on him with people watching him, or
Kind of
he may just
anxiety.
feel I guess pretty much targeted and he wouldn't really be able to excel in the position or the environment that he's in because people have, preconceived notions of him.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you.
I was going to add that because they're watching him more, even if he doesn't notice it, they're more apt to see his weaknesses, faults, or things of that nature, if there are any. So you notice those things just because you're watching. The same thing that if you're doing really, really well, they'll notice that as well. But either way, you will be noticed more because more eyes are on you.
Yeah. Most definitely. Anyone else? Okay. I would like somebody to come off mute and tell me, what do I mean by this statement? Sometimes it's not your fault, while other times it is a lack of action or proactivity on your part. What does that mean? Anybody?
I can answer that. When you don't speak up for yourself or when you kind of jump the
Sit back.
gun and let people just, you know, kind of walk over you, I would say, being a walkover. Or there are times when you're too um aggressive or assertive, speaking up on a point, is not always good too. There should be a fine line, of effectively communicating, what the issue is and also not being over aggressively about it.
Okay,
At that.
thank you. Where I was going with this statement was uh there are situations where they may be sitting back waiting for you to engage them, or it may just be simply that you need to take proactive steps to get things moving. And we're going to talk about these eventually in the presentation. So you are working hard, you are trying, you sense hostility, or that something's wrong, you're confused, you don't know how to decode or assess what's going on. Therefore, you really don't know how to respond strategically and wisely. So let's dive in and really figure this out. So let's take a look at what WHAM looks like. So we have labeled behavior, constant negative statements. Uh, People are saying things like, you seem angry, you seem unhappy here, you seem to be picking things up slowly. What they're doing is beginning to brand you, okay? Constant complaints. Maybe talking about the quality of your work or accuracy. You may feel some unnecessary pressure or false or fake deadlines. You may see or experience teaming up. And again, once again, they are branding you. Made up complaints about your work, trying to find something wrong with your work, and there's nothing wrong. Nitpicking, false things being said about your work, and comparing you to others in a negative way constantly. And just lastly, just overall annoyance. And you can pick that up yourself, projected annoyance all the time when you say something. For example, didn't I explain that to you already? Okay. So I would consider that falling within going down the lines of targeting if it constantly happens with heightened aggression. So let's take a look at what a positive manager looks like when we talk about communication. Usually what I've seen, respectful, great manager, someone who has a caring tone, very explanatory, making sure you thoroughly understand all the steps to produce what you are asked. A manager who really wants you to get it. He or she comes back and checks in on you and truly cares. He or she is supportive of you and your ideas, may easily excuse your mistakes, and again, respectful. But let's take a look at a manager who is under the realms of WHAM. Short with you, responds with mean answers and put downs, appears annoyed when you ask a simple question, generally, disregards or puts down or puts aside your suggestions very quickly without consideration. Angry responses, especially or including emails. Doesn't like to explain a lot to you, very short once again, and not respectful. And then I always tell people to examine body language, facial expressions, such as lack of eye contact, eyes rolling, huffing or puffing when you ask questions or present your work, has a disappointed, annoyed look when you approach him or her, short, fake smiles, or bold negative behavior, and your manager's overall body language, arms folded, head down when you pass by him or her. When somebody is walking down the hallway, sees you and puts his or her head down, and walks past you, that's a very disrespectful, dismissive body language action. Back turned away when you're asking questions. It's very respectful to turn to the other person and give eye contact. And take note of these things, and we're going to discuss them a little bit later. When can WHAM start? You can start at the beginning of your job, the middle, or the very end in terms of internship, or when they might have made a decision to let you go. So let's start from the beginning. From the very beginning, you may see a abrasive attitude, very unpleasant communication, communicating to you differently from the way that he or she communicates to someone else. And project allocation. At the very beginning, you may not be getting projects and someone else may be getting projects. Well, that's not a good thing because you need to be learning, improving yourself during your internship or first 90 days at work. Let's go to middle. So we have still less work given to you, not enough work from the start. So that even makes the situation not so good. You're not developing and you're not being able to respond and contribute. So that becomes an issue, particularly halfway through your internship or halfway through your 90 days, because people begin to talk about performance. Justifying no offer or promotion is where we're going when we talk about the end at review time. Now they have justification impacting your life and next steps as well as your financial situation and or family. Any thoughts? Anybody want to come off mute?
Hi, my name's Kirsten Prince.
Mhm.
I was just wondering if someone was going through that and they just became like aware that they were going through that, would you like quit that job or internship, or is there a way to like progress and make it?
Sure, you can turn that situation around. We're going to talk about that. You can turn it around. You want to talk about anyone else? Okay. 12 powerful action steps you can take to, okay, I can't see, to better position yourself. So let's talk about number one, actually all 12 of these. Um, Lack of work. Tell your manager up front. Uh, Find someone you want to work with, someone that you like. When you go to meetings, the funny person, the analytical person, the soft-spoken person, immediately when you join the job, find that type of person that you can see yourself working with, begin to align and work with and do even extra work for that person. Show an interest in working with that person. Um, Often when you start your internships, I don't know why, but for some reason, many of them don't have work already lined up for you. So many interns, they kind of stand around, or many new hires kind of stand around. In that event, start doing research. There are industry, when I say industry, very specific magazines, research reports that are specific to various industries, aviation, fashion, whatever industry, higher education. Begin reading those publications, go into your manager's office and ask what types of publications does he or she read. Start reading up on the competitors. What are the competitors doing? Also, review past presentations and understand the format and how the organization talks. Familiarize yourself with how they present and do analysis. Look at presentations. This is very powerful. Make a list of questions and ask to sit down with someone. So make a list of 10 questions and begin to ask questions to look intelligent, inquisitive, and trying to figure things out. And even those people who are feeling that wham coming on now, these are things that you can do and implement to change that perception of you. Start getting in front of your manager. Start asking very intelligent questions. Start paying attention to the projects that they're working on and ask questions, very specific questions, indicating beforehand that you've done research on those and that on the projects and companies that they're working on, and you're thinking along the lines of problem solving. Ask to be invited to as many meetings as possible and take notes for yourself. Look studious, look involved, look engaged, be assertive. Ask how you can help when they're scrambling around. Even though you're not on the project, you see they're scrambling around, there's a deadline. Ask how you can help. Be the first to volunteer. And this is one of the things that I noticed. They'll ask a group of analysts or associates or a group of people who come in at the same time, who would like to do this project? And some of them would sit back, but those who would say, I'll do the analysis or I'll do this project, they eventually were the ones who were favored, and they are testing you. They're paying attention to that. They're paying attention to those who are asking and going after the work versus those who kind of sit back and who don't have that confidence. I always tell people that the VPs are very dedicated. VPs and senior VPs, they're very dedicated to that company or that organization. And they feel that they have been aggressive, and their aggressiveness has gotten them to where they are. So what they're doing is they're looking for people that exemplify those behaviors. And when they identify those behaviors, they say, oh, okay, Kristen, she's the type of person that I'm looking for to work on my projects. She has the attitude to take it all the way, and she's somebody I would advocate for and try to get promoted.
Can I add something, Mr. Cooper, to your comment that you just made?
Sure.
The person who's saying they'll volunteer, that doesn't mean they know all the answers or they know how to do all of the work, but they're volunteering to participate and to learn and to go above and beyond to do that. So don't feel like you have to know everything to volunteer. You can even say, I'm not sure how to do that, but I'm willing to learn and do whatever it takes to help solve that problem.
Great, thank you. Number 8, make yourself available. Don't just leave at 5 p.m. or whenever, when you know there's a major presentation coming up, even if you're not on the team. And when you do that, let me go back to that statement. Managers and managing directors, they see that you are always available and that you are dependable and that you're willing to dedicate yourself to the company. I used to always go in very early because I noticed accidentally that the managing directors, they would come in early. The senior people would come in very, very early. So I decided to come in early. And what happened was when they had emergencies, um, they would call on me if they couldn't get into their computer, if there was a presentation, even someone else's presentation, they needed someone to explain. So I got to meet the managing directors and build a relationship very early on. So I always went into the office extremely early, actually. Um, Approach various VPs and senior VPs and ask for 15 minutes of their time and ask really good questions. Make that list of questions and not just mentor questions, but general business questions or organizational questions. Take initiative. Don't wait around. And we talked about this before, waiting for them to call on you or ask you specifically. Well, they're not saying anything. They're not giving me any work. You have to be way more aggressive than that. Take the initiative to find an advocate. So can somebody come off mute and tell me the difference between a mentor and an advocate?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, so I would like to say that a mentor is somebody that more so guides you, and it can be kind of synonymous with the advocate, but an advocate is somebody that'll more so just support what you're doing and vouch for you, if that makes sense, at least from my understanding.
Sure. So I tell people all the time in an organization, all those people who've gotten promoted have advocates, and an advocate is someone who is going to the table, um, signing up for you to get promoted, who's defending you and your work. That's an advocate. An advocate could mentor you, could not mentor you, but an advocate basically is a soldier for you. Okay. And it's important for your survival that you strategically find one, get one, identify one. And you do that by doing really good work, uh, hanging around, getting to know even one particular person, um, whom you kind of jive with and mesh with, but identifying early on as a young professional that having an advocate is essential, um, to progression. And having an attitude of wanting to work. So you have to have an attitude of wanting to come into the office, wanting to make profit for the organization if it's a for-profit, or if it's nonprofit, wanting to help genuinely. You should have a genuine desire in your heart for that organization, for that vision. Any questions before I move to the next section? Okay, we're coming to an end. 12 things to know or do if you find yourself in an unfortunate situation. First of all, I want you all to know that quite often managers will align with other managers. So other VPs will take the side of other VPs. Um, Also know that HR is not your friend. HR is there to support and defend and protect the company. So they may gather information and twist things around possibly, but they're going to protect the organization from any type of lawsuit. Notice WHAM as early as possible and point it out to your advocate. So when you feel that you're going down a pitfall, you need to converse with your advocate or somebody about how to get out of the pitfall, what the company culture is, people who have turned around, what approaches you need to take. Are they justified? Are they attacks or are they unjustified? Um, Fourth, wait, learn to respond calmly and strategically, being conscious of potential gaslighting. So this is one that I practice all the time. When you're in a situation, always learn to wait, sleep on it, don't respond in anger, kind of do your meditation, your quiet time, wait 3 or 4 days or a week, and then respond. And also be aware of when you're communicating with people, gaslighting. Can somebody come off mute and explain to me what gaslighting is? Have you all heard that term before?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, my name is Nicole Butler, and I'm gaslighting is like manipulation. So they will, or someone would like use, they just basically manipulate you to make you seem like something that you've said or what you did is what you've done, but you really haven't. So it's kind of like a
Right.
mind game that they
It's
play.
a mind game.
Yeah.
Exactly. hmm You're the problem. You did it. hmm Five, identify whether your company is toxic and where that comes from. Is it just the entire environment or is it one particular manager? Engage your advocate and ask questions. Um, is it possible that this situation can be turned around? Can you please advise me on what to do? Determine whether your situation can be turned around. Also, save your emails and document, build a chronology. The time, the event, summary of the event. Someone that was on yesterday, she talked about how her chronology really helped her to defend herself. In certain situations where you feel things are getting bad, and this is particularly for those who have full-time jobs, hire an outside HR specialist or a career coach strategist to help you think through. You don't go to internal HR, you hire someone that you can get on as a consultant on LinkedIn. You may also want to consult an employment lawyer. There are employment lawyers who will give free consultations. So you explain the situation and he'll explain how to navigate. Also, I always tell people mental health is a part of your health insurance. It's a part of well-being. And sometimes you may have to take short-term disability, which I think is 90 days, or you may have to take long-term disability with the assistance of a therapist. But do not let the workplace environment tremendously, impact your mental and physical well-being. I give this information. Many of you indicated that you have not experienced any type of, WHAM in your current situation, but you may have a boyfriend or girlfriend, or when you become older, you may be able to give this advice to someone whom you know. And lastly, always pay attention to your feelings, your inner feelings, your intuition. They're guiding you, particularly often in terms of the severity of the situation. And lastly, I always leave people with this word of advice that was given to me by a regional vice president at the Home Depot. How you respond in the workplace will impact what happens next. Pause, think clearly, and respond wisely. So a combination of excellent work and also strategically navigating the workplace. You need that component to experience career success. It's not enough to just do work. You are you also have to know how to respond in various situations, just like former President Barack Obama. He couldn't just do work. He had to respond strategically in various positions. And that goes for positions in general, situations in general. You have to know how to navigate for success. Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns?
We did have that question from Ms. Kirsten Prince earlier.
Okay, can you reiterate?
I believe it was, I don't, Kirsten, if you're there, you want to say it again?
Oh, I was just asking,
Oh, can you turn around a situation?
yeah.
Now, I gave some examples. You can. The best thing to do is the advocate or someone, but you have to isolate what the problem is. Do you know what the problem is?
No, I really don't.
Oh, okay. So that's the number one. That's key. You have to find somebody who you explain that situation. I feel, you just be very honest. I feel that I'm going down a pitfall. I feel the negativity. Can you shed some light on it because I know it's occurring? And I've heard that some of your numbers are not right, and they just really don't trust your numbers. Okay, can you give me 3 solutions that I can implement right now to fix that problem? Okay. And then you go back and send a summary email. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get on fixing these issues. Questions, comments, any other concerns?
Yes, I have a question. So I guess thank you for your presentation to this afternoon. And I guess one thing you said was like finding your person that you can, I guess, I cannot advocate with, but you can work alongside in your career. So I guess my question is if me and this other coworker are, being um are working together, but you notice that she is getting hit with a lot of wham, can you go to, I guess, different higher ups on her behalf, or it has to be her going up for herself?
You, I would not. You could give her advice, but she should be going up for herself.
Okay, thank you.
She needs to gather more information and do as I said, investigate and then strategize around handling that issue. But
I
you could
I
get
have a
yourself.
question to like kind of piggyback off of what your last comment at least. How do
Mhm.
you be a good advocate for someone else like without being messy or starting drama in the workplace?
Oh, okay,
Just
that's a good question. Your
Mhm.
advocate is somebody senior. Your advocate is not on your level. Your advocate is the one who can, as they call, shot call. It's not a buddy
Yeah,
or something.
what if you like you're the advocate though? What if like someone else is getting, experiencing wham like the other girl said and you're noticing it as well? How do you go about supporting
Okay,
them?
so if you're an advocate, you you are responding knowing that you have the authority to respond
Okay.
and you won't experience any backlash.
Oh, okay, okay.
Do you
Okay,
see,
that
remember
makes
I said
sense.
early on, VPs team up with other VPs?
Right.
Okay, so that VP who is going to defend it, who's going to defend a lower level, already knows that he has the power,
Okay. That
or
makes
he's
sense.
not
So
going
you
to do
kind of have to have that authority before you can
it.
even try to
Exactly. Yeah.
advocate. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would add to that comment, and Mr. Cooper is correct when you talk about advocacy. But as a friend, as someone who's seeing some things, you can support that person by being encouraging and helping them understand what you see, and then sharing some of what you've learned. So when this presentation is out there and available, you go back to it later and say, you know what? I remember Mr. Cooper mentioned something about this, and I'm going to go back and share with that person some things that you might have learned in this session. The other part is when an opportunity does arise, suppose you are talking to your manager and you guys were having a conversation, and I always just say God opened the door for you to be able to talk about something that, so how are things going for you? And you can say, they're going pretty good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning a lot, so forth and so on. But I also noticed that Jane Doe over here is struggling. It doesn't seem like she's being treated as fairly as I see, myself and others being treated. If that door opens, then you can have that conversation, and that is a way that you can help support her. But don't go into that conversation planning to go and tell somebody on for her. You do have to let her support herself, but if an opportunity comes for you to support a friend, then support your friend.
We do
Thank
have
you.
some questions from the chat once you guys get done with that particular
I,
topic.
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Let's see. So, what is one piece of advice you'd like to leave us with when it comes to today's topic? That's from from Jalen Lewis.
I'm going to say this in the final, but
Okay,
I'm going
we'll
to say
come
this in
back
the
to that
final,
one.
but I'll go ahead and say it now. I would say that it's important to have support. And one of the things that you can do, one of the two things that you can do is you can use your career coach here at Prairie View, or you can hire a career coach. So when I was young, career coaches were for executives. When I was young, you can hire them now. When I was young, I'll never forget when I first got my paycheck, my first year-end bonus. It was $12,000, and I went and bought 3 pairs of Ferragamo shoes at $200 back then. So $600. I would never do anything unwise like that again. I would never just take vacation. I would take that money now and hire a career coach and meet with that career coach every other week and review. And this is for those who, mainly for those who have full-time jobs. I would review the work week and things that were said, things that I should have said, just like a therapist. That's what I would do. I would not just go buy drinks and spend up and have fun. I would make that an essential part of my life, in that a career coach could help you go up to VP level and make your $500,000 a year. You see, so get that practice in particularly as early on as you can.
Yeah, we have some more questions, but I do want to piggyback off of that. Once you do get into a certain level in your career, your full-time position, that is a good investment to make if you want to move into those C-suite kind of positions, is to get a career coach, not just for maybe the situations going on at the job, but to
Exactly.
help with that career advancement, that career
Exactly.
progression. Yeah. Okay. The next question: how do you handle a coworker that continues to show unprofessional behavior in the workplace? And that's
Okay.
Joy Miller.
Okay. So she has to be more specific.
Yeah, Joy, we need you to come give us a little more specific details. Thank you. Joy? Okay, if you on, Joy, we'll let you come back to that. The next one: if you are a minority.
My mic.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you now.
Can y'all hear me? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't know because my mic is usually disabled. But I mean, like unprofessional behavior, like I don't know, like a supervisor having unprofessional conversations about personal things at work or different things like that.
Personal things like just inappropriate things.
Like conversations about personal things.
Is that a
They
part
don't
of
have
what
to
she
do with
does, or is
work.
that a part of the company culture?
I mean, for either one,
Or
like
any of them?
company culture, anything like that.
If it's a part of the company,
Sir?
if it's a part of the company culture, let's say they're doing XYZ, or they are, let's say this is say the company culture is they curse out, they curse a lot. If it's something that they do, that means that HR is also aware of that and they accept it. If it's not a protected class, that's just their culture. It's like going to somebody else's house. The kids they jump off the sofa. That's just what they do. They jump off the sofa. Now, if it's an individual, what I would do is, depending on the topic, I would ask and bring it to the person's consciousness. Is that typical, that this type of communication around here? Um, because it seems abrasive, but I could be wrong. Because some people are not conscious of the way that they're communicating. That's what you asked me what would I do? That's what I would do. Miss Corley, did you want to jump in, or Miss Jones?
I mean, if I'm understanding correctly, I did hear her say something more specific about basically what I'm taking to be gossiping about other coworkers to a supervisor gossiping about other coworkers, maybe on the team or in the department or company to other people, and she's evidently hearing some things or being told about it.
Is the
And
gossip about you?
No. No, sir.
Oh, then I wouldn't do anything.
yeah, it would be hard to, if it's a supervisor, it would be, for me, I don't know how you would navigate that space other than to know how the supervisor is, right? And to, or that coworker is, and just to make sure you stay out of the conversation. Don't give them any information about you. Don't give them any reason to get any information about you.
It-
Um,
yeah, if I were to guess, and we talked about sociopaths and narcissists, I really don't know the lady, but if I were to guess, she is probably strategically doing things to protect her or to feel better about herself. Because there's no reason a good manager would have to conduct himself or herself in that manner. A confident, capable person does not really have to gossip unless she's,
mhm.
trying to create a screen.
The other thing I will add is, as Ms. Jones and Mr. Cooper both have said, is don't participate in that. So if you're asked, what do you think? Say, I really don't participate in, I don't
Exactly.
really want to participate in that conversation. I don't want to talk about another one of my coworkers. You let them know that you're not participating in that, because in most instances, if someone is gossiping about someone else, they will gossip about you too.
Yes. Uh-huh, that's correct. We are about at the end. We will continue to take questions, but we are about at the end. And so Mr. Cooper is going to put up the slide with the survey code. Shakayla, you had a question. I'll go back. We have two more questions from the comments, but Shakayla, if you want to go ahead and ask yours right quick.
I didn't have a question. I had a comment.
Okay.
In a situation like that where that was just the work culture, like everyone just like gossiped about each other, and I would say how I navigated it was I never like engaged in it. I would just like sit and smile, like, and then there were times where like I was asked to like gang up on other team,
Mm,
that sort, and I was being called into like meetings with like their higher ups. So I would say like find an excuse to like get out of the situation, because just because you're not engaging in the conversation, you were still
sure.
present for what was,
Mhm,
Right.
and so you can
mhm,
be held responsible just because you were present.
I
mhm,
think that is, and I forgot about that. I think that
mhm,
is great advice. Sometimes you will be called into the office, and you did the right thing. Very
mhm,
short answers and leave it at that. You did the
mhm,
right thing. I forgot about, I should have mentioned, yeah, sometimes you are called into office because of other things, circumstances.
mhm.
Nope, short
Mhm, especially if
answers
you've
and be
been in the
gone.
neighborhood. Yeah. Now, Amazi, you are asking, couldn't that cause retaliation in the workplace? I'm assuming that's related to what we're talking about. Amazi? Okay, well, we'll wait and they'll come off mute when they can. The next question,
How
if
many
you
questions are there? I mean,
two more left, that's it, two more left. Okay, so for more context, I've seen managers lash out on employees for not engaging in those discussions. Oh, okay. So she's saying being retaliated against because you don't participate. And yeah, I've seen it happen, yes,
hmm
personally. And yeah, we can get a lot more into that conversation. I know Mr. Cooper is, the time is drawing near. What if you're we'll come back to that, Amazi. If you are a minority in a workplace and the manager and all of your coworkers are the majority, how can you deal with WHAM? Every time I attempt to bring up the problems at work, my manager always says, don't worry. However, my coworkers are extremely hostile towards me. Ooh, okay. That might take a little more conversation. We
That's
will,
okay. I can answer that.
okay,
So can you read it one more time to make sure?
yes. If you are a minority in a workplace and the manager and all of your coworkers are the majority, how can you deal with WHAM? Every time I attempt to bring up the problems at work, my manager always says, "Don't worry." However, my coworkers are extremely hostile towards me.
Oh, okay. So in that particular situation, I would begin to document, but I would go back to him and engage that question. When you say "don't worry," can you explain that more, and um, can you also explain the next steps?
Mm-hmm.
And when you if you and also ask, please give me three or four pieces of advice or action steps. See, don't worry is not enough. That's not
Mm-hmm.
enough. That's like going to the doctor and you have an issue and he just says, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Go more deeply into that. What action steps can I take?
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
action steps are you going to take? And then you go back to your email and you just summarize it. I just had a conversation with you, and I just want to make sure that we're clear that you suggested that I don't do anything, or you suggested that I do one, two, or three, or when can I follow up? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not kind of making me feel uncomfortable.
And so do that. I like Mr. Cooper's comments about engaging and asking for more details. I like that. And ask it from a perspective, help I'd really like you to help me understand what you think I can do in this
Exactly.
situation that would
Mhm.
give me a positive outcome. I will say, when you're in the majority, there are things that we notice and we see that they don't see, because we see it often and we have a different lens. So sometimes you have to help them see what you're seeing as well.
Right.
So don't make the assumption that they saw it. You know, it might look normal to them, but we know it's abnormal because we see how that plays out. And so
Mhm.
you have to say, I noticed that, when I'm in the meetings, there's a lot of checkling and stuff. And so, I want to I want to be a team player, and I want to be a part of this team, and I want to feel engaged and, and comfortable. And so right now I'm not feeling that way because I've noticed these particular things and state them. And I'm trying to understand, how can I navigate this to turn this into something positive? How do I change the dynamics that we have in this situation? So you put it on them to help you navigate the problem rather than just you trying to figure it out yourself. So now you've given him some work to do as well. And so, and documenting that conversation, sometimes it's good to do what Mr. Cooper said, which is to send something back to them saying, "Hey, thank you for your time, and I appreciate the conversation and the insights you gave me around handling this situation, which was to do this, this, and this." Then that's good. But and you have to figure out, is this a good time to do that? Because sometimes it's just, you just need to document what's happening every day so that you have a history of what happened, so that if something comes back later, you've got that documented as well. So those are two different sets of documentation. One is to the person who is engaging with you, or the supervisor. The other one is just documenting all the instances that are happening, so that if HR comes back or you need that information at a later time, you've got it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I always tell people, when you go to an organization, there are different personalities. There's usually a just person, a nice person, an aggressive manager, a quiet manager. Find that manager who is respected, and wise, or judicious or fair, and get to know that person, and get to begin to ask that person these questions to help do some blocking and tackling for you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It may not
Uh,
be your manager, it could be someone else, another
right.
vice president.
Mm-hmm. And I guess maybe the last question right now, what are some things you can do to help identify if the environment is toxic to fix? When is it the right time to leave?
Oh, and it's not funny, I had that slide in here and I took it out. You can screenshot this slide here. Um, This has a lot of great bits of information on it. Go ahead and screenshot this. You definitely don't, and I talked about mental illness, you definitely don't want to get to a point where you are sad, where you are sitting in the car, where you may be crying, or you may be agitated, or you feel like your mental well-being is being compromised, and particularly when you get to the hostility part. That's how I gauge what's going on mentally when there's like mental wear and tear. In addition to that, of course, if you see anything physical or the bullying that I talked about, like the bullying is the excessive, like it's just there's no question that um things are too toxic, too horrible. Um, One thing that I pay attention to is everyone talking about the same thing, and is everyone disgruntled? If everyone in the office is disgruntled 24 hours, it's just like being in a relationship where the wife or the husband is complaining all the time. That's the point at which I would consider a transfer. When you hear it's not performance, it's just other people doing things. You see a lot of people quitting, moving to a different division, talking horribly about management and other people. It's just, there's nothing pleasant about the job. That's the point at which I would definitely consider a life change, job change rather, or
And so,
departmental change.
yeah, to add to Mr. Cooper's comments as well, if you're in an internship, in most instances, you just got to stick that one out because you got a purpose for being there. That purpose is to get some experience and something that you can put on your resume, something to prepare you for the job that you're trying to get. So you want to make sure that you get that experience. And there are times when you may ask for, maybe to move to another group or something of that nature. That's a possibility. But in most internships, because it's such a short time period, in most instances, you'll end up trying to just stick it out and figure out how to manage that and how to get the most out of it. Mr. Cooper mentioned earlier, you've got career coaches, and those career coaches are there to support you. I don't know if Mr. Cooper's going to be able to show the screen that gives you the names of all of our career coaches, but there's a career coach for every discipline. And so you've got someone that you can call upon and ask questions. And Mr. Cooper mentioned something about, when we are in our careers, we didn't have career coaches, so you had to do it yourself. So in all instances, we were, you just try to figure it out, use your friends. Prairie View has provided you with some resources, career coaches who can help you navigate those problems. So yes, we're giving you some tools and some insights, but you've got a person that you can have a one-on-one conversation anytime during this summer as well as in the fall and ask these questions, and they can help you as you try to navigate this. So if there, any one of you's really having struggling and need some support and need someone to talk to or how to navigate, here are the list of the career coaches that are Prairie View has offered and offering to you to help you manage this. So please take advantage of them. They are designated for you. They work summer, spring, and fall. So you've got access to them at any time. You can set up a one-on-one session with one of them tomorrow. All you gotta do is send them an email and say, I need some time. And they'll try to get you on their schedule as soon as possible. So don't minimize the fact that, and every school doesn't have this. I will tell you, this is a blessing for you guys to have access to these coaches who can help you navigate not only your career, but how to manage problems and issues that you're running into within your career as well as you're trying to navigate. So make sure you meet your career coach in the fall or this summer so that they can help you when you're trying to get your next internship or your next job.
Yeah.
All right. That was my career coach plug.
Yes, and so please make sure you guys reach out to your career coaches. I do have the ones of you who have asked for that in your survey, and I'm getting that information out to the career coaches this week so that they can try to get you all scheduled later, maybe sometime in the next couple of weeks. So just bear with us. We are moving as fast as we can to get everything working for you. So if you have more questions, we'll be here for you. I know Mr. Cooper may have to leave in just a few minutes, but if you have more questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask them. I know Ms. Corley and I can be here a little bit longer, and we are happy to assist. Yeah, or even comments.
And so those career coaches, you can actually reach out to them. So if you go through your Navigate's application, you can find their names and you can send them an email, and they can, rather than waiting on them to reach out to you and contact you back, you can also reach out to them. So don't hesitate to reach out to your career coaches. And because of turnover, there's some areas that don't have their designated career coach. And so Ms. Jones is finding coaches for anyone whose area doesn't have a designated coach. So she will help you in those instances. All right. Any other questions you guys have?
Okay. Well, no session on Saturday, so we will see you guys next Tuesday. Have a safe and enjoyable 4th of July. And again, if anybody does want to stay on and ask some questions, we will be here until you're all gone. But thank you guys for
And
being
don't
here.
forget to check in, as well as do the surveys for us. It does help us in planning for future events, future programs, and it also helps us for planning for the fall.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Ariel. Good night, everyone.
Thank you all again for
Thank you.
tonight. And one additional question that I didn't ask in the chat, I was gonna based on today's topic, I just wanted to see if everybody could answer. But my question essentially is just, what is something that you all struggled with from today's topic that you overcame as you continued on in your profession?
That's a good question, Jalen.
So that negative perception that people can have of you, that's one of those things, sometimes you think you can't get over it and you can't get through it. You actually can. I know I had to deal with that in my career, where someone perceived me differently than I felt like I should have been perceived. And I showed them just over time that that was not who I was. And so you can change those perceptions. You just have to do the work and be consistent. If they think you are late, then you make sure you're on time and early. If they think you don't deliver, then you want to make sure you're delivering high quality products and going above and beyond to do the work. If they don't think you're personable, then you engage more in your team meetings and things of that nature, so that you can be perceived as being a team player. So you can overcome those things. You just have to have consistency and make a conscious decision to do that.
For me, I would say probably just my biggest thing that I had to overcome was coming out of the military into corporate America. In the military, we say we're direct, we do no sugarcoating. It is what it is. Coming into corporate America, that same direct approach was not received as well. And of course, we're talking about now, I'm talking about the late 80s, early 90s. So it was a different environment in the workforce anyway. And so having to make those adjustments, understanding the new game I was in. One of the things that I even tell my own children is, know the game you're playing and the rules of that game. Once you understand the rules of the game that you're playing, that helps you now to navigate. It doesn't mean you can't be authentic, but it does mean you have to figure out how your authentic self shows up to keep you in that game and complying with those rules. And so, and that's all it is. It's just that, that navigating that intentional, strategic choices that you make to do what you have to do. So, if my answer was no to something that I was asked, I would say no. Michelle, can you do so and so and so and so? No, I can't. Sorry. And I'm going on about my business, and they, looking at me, and my manager calls me in, and she's understanding. She's not mad about it. She said, I get it, but you can't just say no. So then I had to adopt a whole dissertation of conversation, but I still said no, right? So, let me check my calendar to see when I can get that done. Now I know when they need it. So I'm working on these 3 projects. They're due this day. So I can get to that on Tuesday afternoon. Would that work for you? Oh, I'm so sorry. What did I still do? I said no. I just had to give more information that I should have to give. And so, like I said, understanding the game and the rules of that game and then navigating it, to be successful. For those of you who've played sports, you understand what the game is and what you have to, what you have to play, how you have to play that game. So other questions or comments? I know a couple of questions. They had a lot of stuff going on. Did we get enough addressed for you guys? I think it was Ms. Hicks and Ms. Miller. Are you comfortable with the answers you received? Or I know a couple of you, I told you if you wanted more one-on-one attention to it, we could do that as well.
Are
Yes,
there any other? Go ahead.
yes, I do appreciate you all for addressing my question. It definitely helped me, especially with documenting the recap conversation that you have with your manager. That's definitely something that I'll take away. And realizing that all 3 managers that was described today in the meeting, like there's a aggressive manager, there's a manager that's more neutral, and then there's just the other type of manager. So I have to realize that I do have someone to speak to. I was just thinking that everyone was against me. So yes, it was very helpful. So thank you.
Good,
Awesome.
good. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, we will see you guys next Tuesday. And don't forget, reach out to your career coaches to get any further guidance.
And if
I'm
these
sorry.
sessions are being helpful for you, please make sure we understand where they are being helpful and what things we might be able to do to make this better in the future. So we are always looking for feedback as a gift, even for us.
Yes, it is.
Real quick, I just wanted to make sure. So there's not a session on next Monday?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So
Make sure and check
Saturday
that
and
again.
Monday sessions are canceled due to the holiday.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you. That's good to know. And then I just wanted to say thank y'all as well. I like how y'all have it like interactive, and then the times with the breakout rooms. I think that's the best way to do it. And then how you have
Yeah.
the speaker. So I think I've put that every time. So as long as y'all continue that up, I won't ever have any negative comments. I wouldn't even have any in the first place. So I really appreciate y'all.
Well, thank you for
Now,
that feedback.
thank you. But
Yes,
we
sir.
want to know. So even if it's if you have something, we're not just trying to get the positives. We want to know what we can do to be better. This is our first time doing this particular program and we want to keep this going, but we also want to make sure we're meeting the needs of the students. So Ms. Jones has done a really good job of trying to coordinate this and make sure we're getting that feedback. But we also want to know what we can continue to do. So we thank you for the feedback. Whatever feedback you give us is a gift for us.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
And then I don't remember exactly how you all were pushing it out. I know I was able to see it, but if that's the only thing that might be able to be fixed to get more people, but I know there's also a lot of students that typically don't check their emails, especially if it's something that they're not really looking out for. And maybe if it's possible for y'all to look into, it could be something that y'all see if it's any way for you to do during the actual school year. That way people can maybe reflect, or any freshmen could actually try to go into this, because I know I've been helping a little bit with the summer bridge program. I think they typically have panels on Wednesday, and they usually have a good amount of kids. So I don't know if you know the person that's over that, but if you maybe communicated with them, that would probably be something that they definitely wouldn't mind, because there's usually a lot of them in these summer bridge panels, and then that would probably just be a good gateway to kind of keep them on the right path during the year, as well as they're gonna have like mentors and stuff too. So it was just the idea.
That's a good feedback. Thank you very much for that, Jalen. I know in the summer bridge programs they do stuff in the evenings as well. Sometimes, so a lot of times they have a full day and they do studies in the evening. So we haven't really tried to tackle the summer bridge for that reason. However, when they come out of there, for them to know some of this would be really helpful. Miss Jones, you were trying to say something? But very good point, Jalen. And we didn't do a great job of publicizing this earlier in the spring because we didn't know we were going to do it. So we created this program at the very end of the semester, and we only had 1 week to advertise while students were there on campus.
I
So
see.
we just felt like there was a need for this, and we said
Mhm.
we're going to do this as a pilot and see how it works. And it's been
Mhm.
very successful. And so we're
Mhm.
going to do it again. But we'll in the future we'll know ahead of time. Try to use all of our mediums to share
Mhm.
information. But if there are things that you think we can do that would help us get this word out when we're ready to start that,
Mhm.
please put that in your survey. Like we're doing
Okay.
social media, but we're doing the career services social media. We're doing Instagram and Facebook and things of that nature. But you guys, you students, you communicate at a different level, and getting information to you guys is, we're chasing
We're
you guys.
Yeah,
we're
I will.
learning how to get to you.
I will say real quick, I want to keep y'all that if possible, I guess you can see if you can get a blast out maybe to the respective departments, the colleges, because people will pay
Mhm.
attention if they see, oh, my
Okay.
college sent me something,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then
So
what
we
were you
did
about
do
to
some
say?
of the colleges, but
Okay.
Jalen, we're gonna use you. Miss
mhm.
Jones, you need to get his name and number. So I mean his contact information, because we're gonna
Right.
use you in the fall to try to help us,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
we think this is something that's so valuable, and students just don't know that we're here and we're new in this
Mhm.
space. So we do need to
Mhm.
figure out how to reach the students and market what we're trying to do.
Yes,
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't mind helping with that. I'm just a recent graduate and everything, so I know there's a lot of things that do that are very beneficial that a lot of students that don't know about. Because
Right.
I didn't even know about a career coach. I had no clue.
Mhm.
I barely even knew how my advisor was supposed to really like help me because I had like 3 or 4 since I've been there. But I mean,
Oh
everything
wow.
is a learning experience. But
Mhm.
other things to probably help would be CAB if they could push something out like that. They're not always pushing out
Mhm.
things like that. But you have
That's a good
student
one.
government, and then of course you have all the D9 organizations and even the IGCs. They could
Right.
easily help push that out. That's
Awesome.
not hard at all. So
So Jalen, you graduated this spring.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what can you tell me what your discipline is?
So I'm an electrical engineer. I was
Okay.
able to find an internship, and then I was just networking and showing some initiatives. So I earned a full time a little bit after I found my internship. So I'm just finishing out my internship, and then I'm
Okay.
getting ready to move to Virginia for this full time
Oh
opportunity.
wow. Well,
What company are you with?
congratulations.
So right now, thank you. I'm with ESM Engineers, and then in Virginia, I'm going to be with SCCI, so it's Southeast Computer Consultants, and
Okay.
they're in the defense department as well. So
Okay.
should have some pretty stable job security.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So Jalen, we want to make sure we get your contact information. Michelle, do you feel like you've got all of his email and cell
Mhm.
number and stuff? So we'll reach out to you, because this is important, and we need people to help us figure out how to navigate this when we get
Mhm.
to the fall. And we're actually, Ms. Jones and I are will be pulling together our plan for the fall on how do we
Mhm.
take this information that we've put in a very condensed and spread it out over the semester, but also how
Mhm.
do we attract the students so they'll want to get this information.
Right.
Yeah.
So many of the students don't even know how valuable this is. Just like some
Hmm.
students don't even know how valuable an internship is until you don't
Mhm.
have one, and you realize I could have been doing this every semester, every summer.
Right. It's
You
Mhm.
definitely
know?
gonna take a lot of collabing because I'm also a part of a organization, and we've done, fun things. Obviously, you'll get a bigger turnout for fun things, the educational things. It's hard to get a turnout,
Yeah.
even when you add an incentive. I know you all have an incentive to try to also, get people to look into it, but truly, it'll really come from like mouth to mouth or word of mouth from other orgs
Mhm.
on campus. So you'll just have to,
Mhm.
I'll have to help y'all connect with them because nobody would be against it. We all have social media and we all get a lot of attention, and you know how crazy people kind of get over these D9 orgs. So all we have to do is literally just post and they're like, oh, let me see if I can get my way in with their attention and join this panel. So I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's one of the easiest ways that I kind of always push to people because there's a bunch of us that like things like this on campus and that help us. And then I was a PAL, so I kind of first saw firsthand how much like students like really need this. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can help them, but they also really need this as well as I needed this. Like, I wish I had this before I had my first few internships. So I just kind of had an idea versus going in with no idea. So,
Mm-hmm. 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 And having to fumble your way through it. Mm-hmm.
but you
But
live and you learn.
obviously that fumbling led to a few touchdowns because look at where you are. So we are so,
Yes,
so
sir.
excited for you. Yes.
Yeah. And we
Yes.
all wish we had had something like this, just having access to ask a question every week. Here's what
Mhm,
I'm going through, rather than waiting till the end of your um, internship and just fumbling through it. You can stop and say, how should I handle this? You know,
mhm,
so having access to us weekly, but also having access to a career coach. So if you don't want to have a conversation with a group of 50 people, you still have
mhm,
access to have a one-on-one. So we're
mhm,
really
mhm.
excited about what the president is doing at the university and how some of the
Yes.
resources she's bringing to the table. And this
Mhm,
is one of those resources. So
mhm,
this is intentional. This is part of her strategic plan, the 10-year
mhm,
strategic plan that she talks about.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because you are why we're here. There's no other reason for us to be here without you. And your success, it's not a feather in our cap. Your success is vital, vital to where we're going as a country. You guys are our next leaders. And so it just behooves us to make sure we help empower your success, empower you to understand how to make it happen. But yeah, we are planning to offer some things in the fall. I know you won't be here in person necessarily, but we hope that we will still be able to bring you in virtually from time to time and you to share with some things. But yes, Jalen, we would like to pull you in and have some conversations with all of you guys who have been very vocal about things over the last few days, last few sessions, weeks, just to help us with ensuring, having like a team to bounce the ideas off of, a group who's had the experience with Ignite, had the experience in the field, how that worked for you, what would have happened had you had it in advance, all of those things to help us create a good, strong program, and then figuring out how do we get that out to the students.
Yeah.
Because we've got almost 9,000 students, and we've got about 400 students that have enrolled, but we're only getting about 150, 160 or so to actually participate. So, those numbers are good for a new program, but we want them to be great. We want everybody to at least have access and to make the choice. I don't want it, versus knocking down the door. I want it, I need it, please give it to me. Gotta have it.
So
So
Jalen,
Right.
is Houston home for you?
Yes, ma'am. Houston is home for me.
Awesome. So that means you'll be coming home every once in a while, and so we might be able to use
Mhm,
you to as we're having some of our sessions or something. So I want to make sure Miss Jones, you and Miss Jones connect, so that when you're coming in town, you could let us know. Doesn't have to be homecoming. It could be, I'm coming in
yeah,
town for a few days, and maybe
mhm,
you'll come up to PV and do a presentation for some students if we have something already planned or something like that.
mhm,
So
mhm. And you'll
Yeah,
be
that
our
sounds good.
advocate with that company, because we know you're gonna excel. They're gonna want more pre-V grads after this.
that's right.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I
Okay.
definitely have been looking back to make sure I give back and stuff to Prairie View and everything.
Well,
Well,
thank you,
awesome.
thank you.
Well,
No
thank you all
problem.
for your time and for reaching out. We thank you for the conversation, Jalen, and the offers to participate and give us feedback. So we do appreciate it. And anyone else, when we get to the end of the program, we're going to ask you guys for some people who will be willing to kind of partner with us and give us feedback
More
and
things.
allow us to um, brainstorm with. So we'll be looking for some people to do those types of things with, because we all can give back. We all can serve, and we all should.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you all have a
All
I,
right.
great night.
okay, I
All right.
just have one question before you get
Okay.
off.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Jones, I did email you. I was
Okay.
wondering if you could email, like I just emailed you recently.
Mm-hmm.
If we could set up a meeting.
Yeah. Did I not respond?
Oh, sorry, I may have not received it just
It's
yet.
good. Yeah, I was just saying, if you send me your time, I'll meet with you after hours as well. So just send me when you're available next week. And I'll look at, you know what I'm doing Ignite. So anytime around that, even if it has to be after hours, because I know you're working in the day, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I will
Okay.
go ahead and send that email back to you.
Okay.
Thank you all for today. I really appreciate
Yes.
it, and the
You're welcome.
advice, and I hope you all have a great rest of your evening.
You too.
Thank
You guys be
you.
safe this week.
Thank you. You
Same to you
too.
guys.
All right. Bye-bye. And Lemire, you good? Or you have something else?